All right, so thank you everyone for joining in the last Firewise 101 of 2025. This time I wanted to shift our focus into community engagement and also kind of reintroduce the newsletter template that I published around April. And also this kind of meeting is inspired by that other session that we had in April prior to the Firewise 101 program. So kind of looking at challenges, solutions, and kind of putting in our heads what 2026 will look like, both for Fire Safe Council and Firewise communities. And thanks for Pam for being here. That's our treasurer for Fire Safe Council as well. She's super knowledgeable on this program. Get started. All right, so before we get started, some housekeeping. As I said, we post these sessions on YouTube. We have office hours at the end. Also, we have our Instagram at firesafe_Monterey. So for upcoming community events, we will not have a Fire Safe Council board meeting in December. So please look out for that meeting in January. The next Firewise 101 session will be held in January. So we will still have one second Wednesday. And the next Monterey Bay Firewise Partners Forum is pending for a date between January and March. So we'll see what speakers, it might be a continuation of the community wildfire preparedness plan and getting some questions and comments added to that so we can help anyone who's interested in making a specific comment onto the document to be considered for that. I think a relatively standard size group today. So if you want to interrupt me or add any questions and things like that, you can. Turn off your camera if you'd not like to be recorded. I also have a post-meeting survey, which is completely optional, but greatly appreciated to further see the direction of these sessions. And during office hours, if you would like to use the go off mute or put them in the chat. And be mindful of everyone's time. I only have an hour this session, so we'll see how it goes. So the agenda for today, I also have a pre-meeting survey to gauge where we're at. I'll launch that shortly. Introduction, the Firewise program outlook for Fire Safe Council, how we're supporting that in the next year. Community participation in wildfire resilience, identifying some challenges, so a brainstorm session, a group discussion. I'll go over the newsletter template, how you can access that, how you can access the tutorial for how to use it, and then we'll close off with some office hours. So first, I want to get the lay of the land, so I'll launch that survey, which is again optional but greatly appreciated. And I'll just give about minute and a half for anyone in the group wanting to answer. So I see some people are already recognized Firewise sites, so that's good. Some of us have heard about it. Yeah, mostly residents, no agency or partners like that. All right, so mostly interested in community engagement ideas. So hopefully we can come up with some. And also I can share, I think I put this in the resource list at the end, but I could share that 3-year action plan idea bank that the Santa Cruz Firewise group came up with and are adding to it on a regular basis. And it's been really helpful for more ideas long term. for community engagement? Right, so I'll end this. Thank you all for answering. All right, so let's get into some objectives for today. So gathering some feedback on engagement strategies that have worked or not worked in the past. Some tools, what are some challenges people have faced when trying to garner that engagement or support with the community. Discussion of Firewise program direction, and also reflecting on what has worked. Also having some conversation on what have been barriers and what have been some solutions to getting that participation up over time. So I like to start with some like what Firewise program is, action plans, and what the role of participation in that is. So for the Firewise program, it is completely voluntary and community driven. Fire Safe Council likes to support that because that's really the boots on the ground community effort to get more people aware, educated on this information, and you want to protect the residents in which you're at. And it provides a great framework for neighbors to work to become more wildfire resilient. It's a neighbors helping neighbors situation. And the action plans are community designed and oriented with outreach goals and educational goals clearly laid out as one of the key or 4 pillars of that. And community participation in all of this, kind of, as we say, you are as safe as your neighbor. So building social cohesion to create a sense of solidarity in communities for a common cause, in this case, for wildfire preparedness. So really increasing local awareness and using local mitigation resources to see how that best suits your neighborhood. So the whole purpose of this is to create discussion on communications in Monterey County Firewise communities to see where we've been kind of missing that or how we can move forward. So outlook for the Fire Safe Council, we're looking to update our plant list. We want to continue the Firewise 101 sessions, also continuing the Monterey Bay Firewise Partners Forums, the monthly newsletters, the event calendar, and then supporting community events. So please let us know if you'd like for us to participate, if you'd like for us to come do that introductory meeting, and also preparing some cool toolkits for emergency preparedness. That seemed to be a big topic amongst, the escape routes or the One Road Out campaign too. So that's something that we're looking forward to in the next year. So more on the role of why participation is important. Local knowledge strengthens risk reduction efforts. It builds trust in what is the best solution or the best strategy to move forward in your wildfire mitigation at a community level. And it helps communities understand their role in reducing fire risk. So Fire Safe Council, at the end of the year, we're kind of looking at what had happened in 2025. So we want to celebrate the work done in Firewise communities. Today, I'll just be spotlighting 2, but all 60 plus communities are amazing hubs for wildfire preparedness and are doing things every year, every day, every month to inform and educate their neighbors. So firstly, I wanted to spotlight Mesa del Toro with their emergency escape routes. They created 2 emergency escape routes out of the area in case of a single route. Exit is blocked, and some of those were owned by or coordinated with homeowners to make that happen. So it is only for emergencies. So that being clearly communicated and set up was a big lift on part of Mesa del Toro. And they also hosted their annual education event, which is standard for Firewise, with community members with support from their fire authority, which is Monterey County Regional. and also Fire Safe Council Pam was there in support of their meeting as well. Another would be, or this is kind of a collective of Firewise communities. So the North Monterey / Aromas Firewise group is made up of 6 different communities in the Prunedale and Aromas area. There are Kim Ann Lane, Spanish Bit Firewise, Vista Drive, Holly Hills, Manzanita Estates, and Rancho Ramirez Firewise. And they meet monthly to make an event such as their ACE Hardware Wildfire Preparedness Information event, which was in person. And even out of that one event, they helped create one Firewise in the new Firewise in their area, and also got information for potentially another. It was great networking and great, having a presence in their community as a resource. And they also put together an insurance speaker panel, which helped clear up some questions that their specific community had on the insurance situation with Zone 0, all the information coming out. And I believe they had the California Department of Insurance. So it's helpful to have a collective voice in approaching these agencies and having a presence. So I also wanted to highlight some new Firewise USA communities in Monterey County and welcome them. So Skyline Crest, the Enclave at Cypress Grove, Lowell Drive, Vista Encanto, Glen Heights HOA, Oakshire HOA, and Kirby Ranch Road Association / Tumbleweed Lane. And this is the one that came out of that ACE Hardware event up in North County. And Upper Forest Firewise. So well done to everyone who completed that and got it in by the end of this year. And congratulations to all those communities too that I know have submitted for renewals. And if you have any comments that you've received from the state representative on how to fix any of those, you have until December 19th to get that submitted and approved for your certificate valid through 2026. Now let's get into some group discussion. So I wanted to pose a couple questions to kind of think about for the next year. What do you believe are barriers to community participation in the Firewise program, specific in Monterey County? What success stories, like I've mentioned, have you experienced in your community? What outreach strategies have been effective? And also, what approaches do you think would be worth trying in your community that are not currently part of, your action plan, etc.? So I have this board here that you could add comments to, or I can add comments that you have with these 4 questions. But before that, we can look at the feedback from the last session like this from April and see what was said earlier, or April 2025, not 24. So to what do you believe are barriers in community participation in this program in Monterey County? People not knowing about what Firewise is, little consistency in messaging, not having a cohesive message either from fire authorities or Firewise communities themselves, assuming that there are dues or subscriptions required. This is a completely community-driven, non-funded program. There are not dues. I believe unless technically you're in an HOA and this is another branch of that, but the program itself is not based on paying any dues, or a disbelief of the fire risk. And recently this year, after the January Los Angeles fires, CAL FIRE came together to have more, or clearly outline those that have fire risk. So that area has now been expanded in Monterey County as well. So that's always a resource that you could point to say that there's a fire risk in Monterey County, and CAL FIRE, the state agency says so. Success stories, so developing a core group, making clear no dues are required, and also neighbors talking to neighbors, and also an ongoing process of communication. So maybe instead of just at the end of the year with just renewals, having next door posts more frequently, having a presence in general. To what approaches do you think would be worth trying in your community that are not currently part of that? So one of the main feedbacks was newsletters. So after that, Fire Safe Council looked at this and was like, this could be a good way, just plug and play for Firewise communities to take that Word document, edit it as they see fit, and just send it out to whoever they have the email of, or print it and post it to a bulletin, maybe at the clubhouse that they have in their community, or on Nextdoor even. Centralized resource library as well, kind of a clearinghouse for current information. Also, to what outreach strategies have been effective. So online communications and partnering with HOAs. And also diversifying outreach. So having both online and in person. So I would like to ask if anyone would like to put in the chat, maybe, or go off mute to see what they see as one barrier currently to more participation in the Firewise program that might be different or might be the same as we saw earlier this year. For one, I would still say that many people, although Monterey County Weekly has, published some press on Firewise USA, it's still not a very large or larger known program. It might be, you might see those signs, but you might not be entirely sure what it is. So I would still say that not knowing what Firewise is. So I see another in the chat of California not pushing Zone 0 law to enforcement. Yeah. Firewise can be a program that educates people on this and kind of gets a better idea of what that would look like for a neighborhood to enforce, or to have that be more standard. Maxine, I see your hand up if you'd like to add anything.
Yeah, I'm just curious if you know what percentage of the county is not involved in Firewise. It seems like it's grown so fast.
Yeah,
What areas are missing at this point?
I would say the majority of participants or members are in the Carmel Valley or North County area. City of Monterey has a big presence too, but I would say South County, maybe less in the Woods area. Big Sur has gotten a couple more communities too. So I would say maybe missing would be more southern Monterey County. Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know the number exactly of how many in comparison. So
So Jennifer,
yeah.
I agree with that totally. And Maxine, it does definitely depend on the different topographical situations and how the communities are structured. I would say that the Salinas Valley corridor and to the east of us is not well represented at all.
Okay.
Although there are a number of nonprofit organizations that do work with the residents there, but it's not as high fire intensity zone as we are looking at along the Carmel Valley, North Monterey County, and the coastal areas. So I think a lot of it is dependent on where the highest risk is and how people react to that.
Yeah, it does seem that, when we have awareness, for instance, areas that were evacuated in the past seems to have gotten people motivated. But I just wondered what the coverage was at this point. Thanks.
We're actually doing very well. I think, Jennifer, we're up to 60, you can correct me here, 63, 60, possibly 64 with the number of Firewise communities in the hopper. And we are looking at taking the next steps, which takes us to beyond just the Firewise involvement, which are more individual communities, to also in the coming year engaging more of the businesses and um, um, groups that support the communities in different ways, such as besides the businesses, the schools, and some of the workers in the area. So that would turn it into more of a fire adapted community as well as the individual communities working in.
Yeah.
That's another interesting point because I wonder about in some of the areas where there is good coverage, maybe combining some of these. For instance, we're right next door to Mesa del Toro. We participated in their evacuation because it comes out through our area. Some of these perhaps should be combined, and then it's less effort for the individual leaders. So that's a thought.
When Jennifer's very aware of, we have been working with, I think we have six, excuse me, Jennifer, if I'm wrong again, I think 6 groups of Firewise split up throughout the Firewise, the 60 some odd Firewise communities that we have. And I think in the Carmel Valley area, there's one section that has 8 or 9 Firewise communities. And the leaders meet regularly. Each community is an individual Firewise, but they meet collectively, and they're doing that in North County as well. I think they have 5 now. And again, the leaders meet quarterly. And then they can plan a larger event, and it's been very, very effective. So we'd love to do more of those. And I agree with you, it makes it much easier for the communities to work together, especially if they're adjacent or near to each other. So we'd love to see more of that collaborative participation.
Yeah.
Great.
I would say that's a strategy that's been effective. So maybe the Firewise groups. Bob, I see your hand up too.
Yeah, Pam, I was going to ask you, I've tried to get Pasadena involved, and unless they've done it, I've never heard about it, or Laguna Seca, those 2 areas, because since they're on the north side of Highway 68, they don't seem to be concerned. And dealing with Ron Lemus on Robinson Canyon, we take care of our area that borders the preserve, but getting the people below us, we haven't had any luck in getting them involved, as far as I know, and they don't do very well on the fire inspections, as far as what the people in Mid-Valley Fire Department are telling me.
Well, suppose not at this meeting, but we make a date, Bob, to talk about that in more detail and see if we can't prod them a little bit and see if we can't get some interest in that area.
Yeah, because they're all at a risk if we have something, but I don't know if they just don't want to put the time in it or don't believe that they are at risk.
Okay, so Pasadena and the other side
Laguna Seca, where Laguna Seca golf course
okay.
is, all those homeowners, and you got Port Ord that backs right up to them, and that's solid Manzanita. And you've been up to Robinson Canyon with me, and you've seen Robinson Canyon, and it's a mess.
All right, so we will put you on our list to follow up on that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Happy to work with you. Sorry, Jennifer, didn't mean to interrupt.
No worries, no worries. So also in the chat, some slight apprehension in our community about compliance and how insurance might be impacted. Oh, here, hopefully that looks big. Yeah, we've heard that in the past too. Success stories we discussed too, the escape routes, the Firewise groups. I think that, or the annual event seems to work, or, when you get renewed, you have to do that annual event for Preparedness Day or the Preparedness Month. Has anyone done something different, or what approaches do you think might be worth trying that aren't currently part of what your Firewise community is doing, or what outreach you've been trying to do? And if not, I also can always move on and think about this when we look at the challenges and solutions. I have a little bit more that we could look at. So for identifying challenges, oh, I see, Maxine, you had your hand up.
Sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
Just on one thing that worked for us, that got another homeowner to participate that wasn't. We realized that because it was an elderly couple that maybe they just were ignoring it because they couldn't handle it. So I got a small group of volunteers and we went and did some clearing for them. And consequently, they're now interested in the information and I think will participate from now on. So sometimes I think it's just a matter of people not knowing what to do or maybe not being able to. So that was one thing that worked.
Yeah.
Sorry, me again. Maxine, I
Great.
totally agree. I think the strongest of our Firewise communities are the ones where the neighborhoods actually get together socially, let's put it that way, for other events during the year. And once you get to know your neighbors, then it's much easier to work with them or encourage them to be inclusive in their Firewise, in their, in the program itself. So a little, I had an idea once that whenever you do one of these projects, that somebody chips in for donuts and you go around and drop off donuts at all the sites where you're doing the work. Give everybody a cup of coffee and donuts or something. So, but I agree, involving them socially is very, very helpful, besides not just focusing on the Firewise aspects all the time.
Right.
And so I added that as a success story. I mean, getting one more person, one more neighbor involved is always positive and really shows that maybe if they didn't know, weren't aware, they see the positive effect that it had even in that one day and would be curious to stay involved. So this is from April 2025 on the challenges and then some solutions. This board had a little bit more busy going on. So for these questions, what concerns do residents express about preparedness efforts? So again, we discussed people feeling overwhelmed with where to start, the cost for retrofitting or landscaping, costs for being Firewise, such as materials, time involvement. What are the biggest barriers preventing participation? Creating interest in non-Firewise neighborhoods. What's next after recognition? What do you do after? What are the common misconceptions about Firewise that hinder engagement? Assumption that there are monetary dues required, and then some solutions. So what additional resources or incentives would help communities take more action? People said food / speakers at larger collaborative events. Yeah, so having that social aspect, expanding to the fire adapted program, see the pinwheel that Rainer Marks from Fire Adapted Big Sur shared at this meeting. Starting small, so what are the smaller, less costly options for retrofitting, reducing fire risks? Let's say someone already has the tools, borrowing those tools and doing a work day, seeing what you have and working with that. So what are some tools or partnerships that could make Firewise efforts more sustainable? So involving your local fire authority in education or outreach. When people see the badge and they see someone that they can look towards for resources or look towards for information who are credible, they might be more inclined to listen and more inclined to be involved in the program. Also cross-referencing, so having materials to hand out to see on their own, a video, social media. So neighbors knowing neighbors, for example, hosting neighborhood events, building a sense of community and embedding that with Firewise. So how can Firewise groups better collaborate to share knowledge and success stories? Like you said, like leader groups with neighboring Firewise and regional groups came up. So that's kind of a through line in all of this. So making those groups bigger, or just having cross communications with them. Maybe we can address some of these, or we can work off what was said in April. I think in the chat there's been some, yeah, planning what to do, catch neighbors in social settings, and discuss Firewise is a good way to do that. For, I would say still, it would be a big barrier is like what it is, what involvement comes from me, misconceptions, again, the monetary value, but let's say you have a gardener or you have a landscaper come in anyway, that is totally a way to, that it still counts for recognition. How can Firewise groups better collaborate to share knowledge and success stories? The leader groups have been proven to be really effective to make those bigger events in bigger groups and have, you know, a bigger voice when coming to a fire authority or an agency to come speak, or, you know, having a voice in, you know, getting a potential grant application in, like Spanish Spitfire wise in that North County group. Fire Safe Council helped them write that application. Unfortunately, the application didn't get approved, but at least we have that template and we have that discussion for when there is an opportunity that arises, then we can come back together and submit that for that community and for their efforts, and to, you know, start a program for them. Okay, yeah, comment earlier, I listed to update the plant list as a task. The current list is on our website under community resources, and it's Monterey County plant list. And I can share that as well. Once we get to the office hours, I can pull that link. So I would say this board kind of still resonates to today. So then I wanted to get into how to address some challenges. So let's see some goals and actions for community engagement. So creating a mailing list of community members that you already know, holding a community meeting, you know, just maybe just, you know, coffee and donuts, as we said, education preparedness event, educating on Zone Zero, how to get there, an action tied to these. So posting on social media, such as Facebook, Nextdoor is really popular. You know, I'm regularly on that. To interested parties, kind of start grabbing some emails from there, creating a flyer, you know, on Canva or even on paper to promote the meeting. Canva, Firewise could be considered under their like nonprofit initiative, so you can get premium for free. I don't think they verify the 501c3 status. So if you put your account under nonprofit, then you'll be able to access the premium features. You know, contact us to hold an introductory meeting once you gather that core group of interested parties for a board. And also partner with the local agency, you know, to conduct evacuation drill, or even just come speak about their experiences with Firewise, what they see with Firewise as positives, and how they can be involved in the process. Holding a Zone Zero event, you can reference our event that we held with the speaker from IBHS, and you can always, you know, clip that and just show that, and that counts as an event too. If you like to do, if you're not able to get a speaker for that event, or just reuse it, you feel free to do so. We have the YouTube videos as a resource for you all. Also, to get into the newsletter template for Firewise in Monterey County, this is what it sort of looks like. So it is customizable. It can be printed or emailed, shareable to anyone. You can just copy it, save it as an attachment, and send it. We have the YouTube tutorial. It could be a great channel to share local information, any upcoming events, some resources, and also creating a regular conversation around wildfire, even outside of the fire season. So here is the shareable link. I can share it. So it's just a Microsoft Word document, and it might take a bit to load, but the intention for it being just a document, I wanted it to be accessible, wanted it to just be, you know, in the format that could be used by anyone. It is here. And even in these boxes, I try to put some information that might be relevant there. Oh, it's a long link, but if that one doesn't work, then I could always share it through here. I can see, but it should be available. Here, you know, inside issue number, etc. You could do this quarterly by like, or just annually too, like at the end of the year or before renewals. If someone sees this and then you attach a form or QR code to a survey to fill out their renewal information, such as vegetation removed, events, or time involved, any cost for retrofitting, that could be attached to that. You know, these are just the suggested pages, contacts, or signing up for future issues. Here, you know, the main body, review of an event, knowing your zone too, some resources for that. And then support for Firewise community if you want to get involved, signing up for future issues, just to get more emails on that mailing list, more contacts, more people spreading the word. And our tutorial is also here. And it's really short. It's about 12 minutes to just get lay of the land on how to use it, but it should be pretty straightforward on Microsoft Word. Oh, and plus saves time. Already done the boxes, no need to start from scratch from a different template. Just, you know, whatever you want to say. You can even reduce it to one page, just have this one page for that singular update, or, you know, this one page and then a flyer for the upcoming event, or a flyer to join the Facebook group, or to join, you know, the Monterey Bay Firewise forum to get more information. Could also be a way to do this. So some resources, so our channel, the newsletter template. Oh, and also in that tutorial, I put together a sample newsletter email list. So how to keep track of that. The Firewise, here's what it should look like. So the column descriptions, and then these are all, you know, just generated random that you could use to keep track of that. So I can copy this link and you can use it for creating a mailing list. Also on Google or on Gmail, there's a way to separate groups in your email list. So if you want to add everyone to just a certain group, you could also do that. It's also recommended to have a separate Firewise email account. So if there is a change in resident leader, then it's only tied to that one email address, and anyone stepping up to that role can have access, and doesn't need to be any too many changes on the Firewise portal side of things, just, you know, internally with that email address and handing over the logins and things like that. So our YouTube channel that has our previous, you know, the last meeting, just a general meeting, our renewal workshops, also our video or our recording for the community wildfire protection plan, if you want to learn more about that, if you're interested in commenting. No, the template, well, 15 minutes. Site mapping, most popular video would be the California 3-year action plan, which can be the most confusing. So I really recommend, if you're having to renew that or having to do that to look at the video and look at the slides. And also our webpage. And also here we can look at the plant list. So here on our website, go under community resources and it should be under plant lists. It's pretty lengthy how it is. It is based off of the UC Forest Products laboratory list of plants for use in defensible space. And I believe also it is Calscape that has a great search tool. So if there's a plant here that interests you and you would like to see it or like to, look at it in person or potentially buy it for your landscaping, you can search for that plant and see what nurseries sell it near you. So I think I can look this up and add it there too. And the NFPA Firewise page, so their resources page. Could also look at, I'll add it to the chat but also these slides will be posted and publicized so that resource list can be available too through that. Also, we're doing our end of the year fundraising campaign with MC Gives, and your support through MC Gives will allow us to continue holding sessions like these and support any wildfire preparedness efforts on the Firewise side. And if you can, donate at the end of the year, we'll greatly appreciate it. And yeah, just wanted to add this here for end of the year. Also, in our last about 15 minutes, I'd like to open up for office hours and thank you all for joining me and doing all the work you do in your communities. And yeah, it has been a great series and I really want to continue this into the next year and see where we can take this. Yeah, so if you have any questions or comments, you can leave in the chat, raise your hand, or you can just email me offline and we can discuss anything. Yeah.
So thank you, Jennifer. I just want to reiterate that we can't do the work that we do without knowing what you who are members of our fire communities actually need to have done. And we are totally aware that the Firewise program is a non-funded program. So the work comes from our volunteers and our community members, and hopefully donations to keep us going. So we understand it's a lot of work that you do. We really appreciate the work you're doing. We know that it's appreciated by the fire authorities. It's interesting to see how they are more willing to focus on the Firewise program because they are seeing the results and they are making a difference. So if you know of any communities that are interested in becoming Firewise or at least looking into it, we'd be more than happy to work with them. I'm always willing to go to one of your meetings. Jennifer's always, well, speaking for Jennifer, she's almost always available. And she put some great things together, which can support you in the work that you're trying to do. So thank you for joining us today. Appreciate it a lot. Uh-oh, Courtney has a problem.
I just see a comment. So let's see if I can figure this out.
I think there's a tab on there that you have to give them that says that anyone with access to that link is allowed. It comes from us to do that. That happens to me a lot. So
yeah, I thought this link was the most accurate. Okay, well, I just need to sign in and see that it's available.
okay.
Thanks for double checking that, since if I'm logged in on my end, then it says it's open. So let's see.
So for those of you, I think Jennifer has, because you've signed up through our program, she will know where you are as far as if you are with or working on a Firewise community. But if you have not given her that information, it's very helpful for us to do that so we can follow up with you later on. It's always good to know who our interested parties are. So appreciate it. So, all right. Any questions, comments? Anybody have any events coming up over the holidays for their Firewise group, or just planning on getting through the season first and then seeing what you can do?
Yeah, that.
Busy time, I know, for all of us, definitely.
I just wanted to thank Jennifer. Jennifer, your information is helpful even for those of us who have been doing this for a while. And I'm sure it's very helpful for the people starting out. So thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I'm happy to be a resource.
Ditto to that, Jennifer. You're doing an outstanding job.
Thank you.
Mhm.
So I will still try to figure out the link for this and to get that up and running. I believe I can download it and update that sharing capability. Yeah, I wonder why. Okay, so I'll try to get that fixed, and anyone on the mailing list and anyone who received the invite for today's session will get that updated after, yeah, as soon as I can fix the link for this. So I'll try to get that started and have it out by tonight or, tomorrow morning, so no one forgets about the newsletter template. So yeah, thank you all for joining. I can stop the recording now.